Alongside Brent Hubbs, I'm Austin Price. 2-minute drill, first practice of the 2022 fall camp in the books. Your overall, before we get to kind of the comments today, your overall takeaways from practice, the 8 periods.
I think the biggest thing is that this is a different looking football team. And we've heard Josh Heupel talk about it, the summer that they've had. Guys are leaner. I mean, Amari McNeil looks like a totally different guy. I don't know how much he'll play or not, but you didn't even recognize him out there. This does look like a more athletic team. This looks like a team that physically looks better than they did in the spring, and certainly physically better than they did a year ago. That's the initial eyeball test, day one takeaway from getting a chance to watch a few minutes of practice.
Josh Heupel afterwards, very complimentary of his team today, the work they got in out on the practice field. It's just, first day, there's no pads, it's not technical real football yet, but it's clear this team's carrying itself a certain way, maybe more so just from a comfort level of having the same coaches for a second consecutive year this season.
Yeah, there's retention. And that's something. A year ago, everybody was learning something new, and it was all brand new. That's not the case now. You've got some veteran guys coming back who have some leadership skills about them. There's an expectation and an understanding of what they're supposed to do. Now, there's some young defensive linemen today that found out what life under Rodney Garner is like, and it's different. So there's going to be growing pains. But
I think they already knew, but they didn't know.
They didn't know until they knew. There are going to be some growing pains. We know that. That's a part of it. They're not a finished product. They're not perfect. But there's an understanding and an expectation of what should be done and how it should be done. And I think as a coach, when you're not having to teach guys how to practice, that's a huge step forward in the right direction.
Going into tomorrow, what do you think coaches are looking for?
Retention. How much more can they put on a plate? Where are those guys who were midterm enrollees? What's their retention level like as they get into it? Some young guys, the guys who got here this summer, their head will be swimming. But how fast can they go? And how much more can they add on moving forward? And I think it's interesting. A guy like Squirrel White continues to get a lot of buzz. We all wondered, is he big enough? But he's got a little
something. Blew by a couple of guys today.
Yeah, and he's got a little something about him. I think he's tougher than everybody wants to give him credit for. So some guys like that. I don't think tomorrow's a separation day, but you're going to start to work towards kind of above the line and below the line, particularly in regards to special teams, not just in regards to your first 11 on both sides of the ball.
Let's talk about the defensive side of the ball. Some decent praise for Wesley Walker today. Made a big play in practice, got an interception. He and Andre Turntine look like that they can help this football team sooner rather than later.
Well, again, the big question in the secondary is, where do all the parts fit? What does that puzzle look like? But there are more puzzle pieces to play with, okay? And I think it elevates guys' game. I thought a guy like Kamal Haddon made a couple of nice plays that we saw out there. He looks different. He looks better. There's competition across the board for some guys. And Brandon Turnage and those guys, hey, there's help here. There are new guys involved here. Willie Martinez has got a lot more bodies to work with, and I think there's some talented bodies there. Going to be fascinated to see how that group shakes itself out at nickel, at the dime spot. Who are the corners? Where's Christian Charles going to play? What do those safeties do? Walker, Turntine. You went through spring with nobody, and now all of a sudden you got 8 new ones because they're all healthy now. And how does that all shake out? I think a fascinating part of this fall camp.
Got to hear from 4 true freshmen on the defensive side today. All those interviews are up at Volquest. The biggest takeaway from them, all of them buying into earning their playing time on the defensive side through special teams. Get to hear from all 4 of those. That's at Volquest.com. He's Brent Hubbs. I'm Austin Price for the 2-minute drill.